from the 60s, the 70s and the 80s, along with some fantastic guests. And my next guest, Chris Newhall, runs a Genesis tribute band. They're called Nursery Cryme, so called after one of their earlier albums. And coming up on the 29th of October, the band are finally doing a rescheduled event at Rodin School Theatre in Brighton. Chris joins me now. How are you, Chris?
I'm very well, thank you, Sylvie. How are you?
Yeah, good, thank you. And thanks for bearing with me. We've rescheduled all sorts of things, haven't we? As I mentioned to my earlier guest today, with the sad passing of Her Majesty the Queen. And I was due to have you on in the first hour of today's programme. And as you know, stuck in traffic meant that producer David was in this side, was nobody the other side. And we've had to move you to now. So you've been fantastic, Chris. Thank you very much indeed.
No problem, we got there in the end.
We did indeed. How long has this tribute band been together then?
Well, I started it in 2014. It was really just me and a guitarist at the time. We were quite keen on starting something. And it just kind of evolved. It's been quite a serendipitous journey, one way or another. It seems to have just fallen into place. And we've got our current lineup, I think, has been with us now that we've all been together since about, 2016, by and large. And we just have great fun doing it.
So how many of you are there in the band now?
Well, there's 5, which sticks to the traditional Genesis lineup of 5 people. They're the 5 musicians. We have 3 crew. We have 1 for sound and 2 for lighting. So altogether, there's about, if my maths is correct, about 8 people in the actual whole ensemble itself.
Yeah, it takes a team, doesn't it? I mean, I'm guessing that you guys are all fans of Genesis, so you wouldn't be a tribute band if you didn't like them.
We are, and we're a bit nerdy on it, in fact. And we've our fans. I hope I won't be doing them an injustice by saying I think they're the same. They're very particular about what they want to hear, how they want it to sound, and we try and keep the music true to the original Genesis sound.
So what kind of era of Genesis do you play? Is it the whole lot or bits of it?
Well, it's right up your street in terms of the shows era that you're doing at the moment, Sylvie. It's we do from 1970 to 1980.
Wow.
We tend not to go outside of those areas because we feel that was the era when they were in their heyday, and we try and keep to the tracks that people know or remember, but may not be the most obvious ones. But we play a few that everybody knows, of course, but we try and do the ones where people come up to us after the show and go, wow, I've forgotten all about that one. It was so great to hear it again. And we get that time and time again, and it's really nice to hear positive feedback after a show. It makes it kind of all worthwhile and all the rehearsals worthwhile.
Oh, absolutely. Now, I alluded to why the band are called Nursery Cryme from one of the earlier albums. But why did you go for that? If you could have chosen anything, I guess, if you were looking at their albums. Yeah,
we had a struggle to come up with a name that was going to be kind of stand out a little bit, which I think this one does, and also that was going to be fairly unique in terms of a tribute band. So. It took us about a year, I think, to come up with the name Nursery Cryme, and we felt it was fitting because it was the first album that Genesis did where the traditional 5 were in their heyday, and it felt just kind of nice that it befitted what we were trying to achieve. So we chose Nursery Cryme. We thought, well, if we don't like it, we can change it, but it's kind of stuck, and we're with it now. So that's who we are.
Fantastic. Now, I mentioned that you're doing a rescheduled event at the Rodin Schools Theatre in Brighton. Yeah. So when is that happening? When should it have happened?
Well, it's a very good question. We were due to do our last gig that we did. We were due to do one literally the week lockdown happened, and of course that didn't eventually come to fruition. But so we've been kind of out of gigging routine for about 2 years, but we've been full-on rehearsals for the last year or so, and we're back at Rodine. So you could argue it's been nearly 2.5 years since we've been out there playing again. And we chose Rodine because it's got a fantastic environment. If anybody knows it, I mean, it's just such a great environment. It's a lovely theatre they've got there at Rodine School. I've been to see a few shows there, that the Brighton Academy in Brighton, they use it as their performing outlet. And it's a lovely theatre. It's fantastic, and it's not really well known either. But it's just perfect for what we want to try and do. So,
Chris, it's the 29th of October. What time?
Yeah. Right, 29th of October at 7:30 p.m. It's great. We've got everybody covered because you can come, have a great time, have a great show, go home, and then the clocks go back an hour so you can have a lie-in the morning. It's perfect. We've got it covered for everybody.
You've got this sussed, haven't you? We've done this before. Yeah, it wasn't thrown together, was it? So anybody listening who'd like to get hold of tickets, how much are they and how do they get those tickets?
Yeah, well, with everything that's going on, we've tried to keep tickets to an absolute bare minimum. So tickets are £18.50. You can get them from the Rodine Theatre box office. You can phone up Rodine School. They'll put you in touch with their box office as well. The other way to do it is to log on to our website. There's a link there, which is www.nurserycryme.co.uk. The Crime's got a Y in it, by the way, if anyone's going to do that. Or just simply Google Nursery Cryme, a Genesis tribute band, and then our website and Facebook pages come up from that.
Oh, brilliant. So, and is that how people can follow you as well on social media?
Yeah, absolutely. So we've got quite a few followers. We've been going on Facebook a while, so we've got quite a few followers there. And we've also recently introduced an Instagram account as well. So, again, that's fairly new, and the followers are starting to trip up on there as well, which is good for us because it means we're going in the right direction.
Oh, Chris, it's been an absolute joy to have you on the show. Before I let you go, do any of you actually look like any of the members of the original Genesis lineup?
The closest I can say to that, Sylvie, is I've got hardly any hair. That's the closest I can possibly get, I'm afraid.
Well, do you know what?
No.
Do you know what, Chris? And I mentioned things not being thrown together. In my running order, coming up after an update on the travel, is a little bit of Phil Collins. So it's going to be a little two hearts just for you. Thank you so much for coming on the programme, Chris. Good luck on the 29th. I'm sure it'll be a massive success.
Pleasure, Sylvie. Thanks very much for having us on as well.
Thanks so much. Enjoy the rest of your Sunday.
You too. Take care.
BBC Radio Surrey.
Travel.